My Bible is open to John's Gospel, chapter number 12. And today we want to conclude this series on stewardship. Um, it has been quite a journey. We've been actually teaching on this since January, is that right? Since January, and still there's more, but we got to stop. But it's been quite a journey. We found out over our time together that God owns it all. God owns it all. That's stewardship lesson number one. And the principle is if God owns it all, we are stewards, meaning we are managers of God's resources. And God entrusts the stuff, the things, everything that we have, God has entrusted that to you and that to us so that we can properly manage it. And he looks for us to do a good job in honoring him, right? He looks for us to increase it. He looks for us, and we've specifically talked even about finances and how God wants us to manage well the finances that he puts in our hands. Not just the tithe, not just tithing, because tithing will not override bad stewardship of the 90%. Tithing is 10%. So we have to make sure that we're honoring God in it all. But one of the things that Dr. D had mentioned, and that is something regarding your attitude in giving. Your attitude. And so I want to talk to you today from this subject, the type of attitude we need when giving. The type of attitude that we need when giving. Let's read the passage in John's Gospel beginning in chapter 12, verse 1. It says, "Then 6 days before the Passover, Jesus came to Bethany where Lazarus was, who had been dead, whom he had raised from the dead. There they made him a supper, and Martha served, but Lazarus was one of those who sat at the table with him. Then Mary took a pound of very costly oil of spikenard, anointed the feet of Jesus, and wiped his feet with her hair. And the house was filled with the fragrance of the oil. But one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, who would betray him, said, 'Why was this fragrant oil not sold for 300 denarii and given to the poor?' This he said, not that he cared for the poor, but because he was a thief and had the money box. And he used to take what was put in it. But Jesus said, 'Let her alone. She has kept this for the day of my burial. For the poor you have with you always, but me you do not have always.'" What a fascinating story. What a fascinating story. And so what I want us to look at again are the attitudes. Let's look at the attitudes. So when giving to God, we need a sacrificial attitude. A sacrificial attitude. I want you to notice this woman. The text says that she took a pound of this fragrant oil, this costly spikenard, and anointed the feet of Jesus. Now, you have to understand something. When we say it's a sacrificial attitude, it was sacrificial, and you can begin looking at what they said about the cost of the oil. They said that the cost of the oil was like 300 denarii. A denarii represented a day's wages, 1 day's work. So understand that if it's 300 denarii, that's almost a year's wages that was spent on this oil. So this wasn't cheap stuff. Let me say it like this. She didn't go and get the cheapest smelling stuff that she could find in her local whatever store you want to fill in. I won't call any names. And you have to understand this particular oil was not just mixed with some water like the perfume or colognes that we wear. You'll see the term el toile, meaning it has some water in it. This was the pure oil itself, and it was so much that it was so fragrant and so pungent that the fragrance of it filled the room. Now understand, she took it and not just put a little bit on Jesus. She took it and poured it on Jesus. So I don't know how long this woman had this fragrance. The text doesn't tell us. But generally, this is something that you would keep in a safe place in the house. It's probably something that she had accumulated over the years. It may have been a family heirloom. I don't know. But the point that I'm getting at is that this text tells us that this was almost a year's wages. So this was sacrificial. And what we have to understand is this, that when giving to God, it should at some point in your life, in my life, require sacrifice. David made the statement, he said, I will not give the Lord that which costs me nothing. So in other words, we bring to God our very best. We don't give him the leftovers. We don't give him that we've given to, once we've given to everybody else, we say, okay, God, we'll finally see you now. No. It involves sacrifice. I want to challenge you in something. Do you even have the capacity to hear God when it comes to giving a sacrificial offering? Some of us, we finally start tithing. Thank the Lord for that. But we won't even round up in the tithe. Don't look at me. I haven't looked at your giving. I don't know. But I'm saying, if we get paid $103, we're going to make sure that we give $10.30. We won't even give $11. If I hit your number, don't say anything. We won't even, I'm talking about rounding up just a little bit. Just a little bit. And so that's not even a sacrifice. That's just rounding up. But anyway, I left the point. We see that this woman, she gave sacrificially to Jesus. And I submit to you this, that there had to be something that she saw in Jesus that would cause her to reach for the most valuable thing, some of the most valuable things that she had, and would give it to him. My question is, have we seen Jesus like that? Have we deemed him worthy? Have we seen his worth? Ladies and gentlemen, when we're talking about Jesus, he is the Son of God. All things were made by him. Without without him, there was nothing made that was made. John said about him, in him was life, and that life was the light of the world. Isn't that amazing? And so has Jesus become so common that we aren't even willing to sacrifice? But I submit to you, I believe I got some people in here that love him with all their hearts and will give him and say, God, I praise you, and I'm glad to pour out my offering and my sacrifice on you because you're deserving. So when giving, we need to give with a sacrificial attitude. Here's another thing. When giving to God, we need to give with a serving attitude or a servant attitude. I want you to notice something. This woman came into this room, and everybody there was seated at the table to receive. She was the one who came in to give. She was the one, because the others had sat down. You know how it is. Here's Jesus in the room. You want to sit by him. John even made mention in his own writing, talking about, I was the one who, would lay my head in Jesus' lap. I was the one who's closest to him when we sat at the table. No. This woman came in with the attitude of, I am a servant. I'm here to serve you. She's really mimicking the character of Jesus, because Jesus said, I did not come to be served, but I came to serve. Many times, even in coming to a church service, in our Western mindset, it's more of entertainment than worship. And so we rather than this act of service, meaning I come to give something. I come to pour out to him. I come to give to him. You know that song, You Don't Know the Cost of the Oil in My Alabaster Box. I submit to you, if you take the attitude of a servant, when you come to the house of the Lord and when you give to the Lord, you'll be amazed at what will happen to you. Now, I'll tell you this. As I teach and preach, it's rare that I come to a service. I'm not trying to be braggadocious or anything like that. I'm just telling you how I come to a service. It's rare that I come to a service with the mindset of what I'm going to get today. It's just, because I know that if I come here, especially if I'm coming to, even if I'm not preaching, I don't think about what I'm going to get. I think about what I'm going to give. What do I have? My mind, and I recognize when you say you're a pastor, and you should. You're a part of the body, and you should serve too. So we have to come not just with what we can receive, and inevitably what happens is this. If I come with the attitude of, how can I serve? God, how can I serve you today? By serving your people. I get what I need. I'll be blessed in a song, or blessed in somebody will say something will happen in a service. I'll hear a testimony, because my attitude is one of a servant. And I submit to you, as we give, we need to have an attitude of a servant coming, and you'll be amazed. God will meet your needs. I'm telling you, he'll do it. Now, he is a need meter. He more than amply can supply your need and do exceedingly abundantly above all that you ask, think, or even imagine. And so this woman thought, how can I serve him today? So she gave with the servant attitude. When giving to God, listen to this, we also need a submissive attitude. Because notice, The text says that what happened with this woman, she began to undo her hair, and then she began to wipe his feet with her hair. Please know this, that the humility was demonstrated in the fact that she let down her hair in public. She did this in public in front of everybody. It was a rare event in Jewish culture, showing that she was without concern about the acceptance of others. In other words, I didn't come here for you. I came here for him. And whatever I need to do for him, I'm willing to do that. So I'm willing to submit myself. I'm willing to humble myself. I don't care what you think about me. I care what he thinks about me. Are you understanding that? And so there has to be, again, with this attitude, it has to be a submissive attitude where I'm submitted to the lordship of Jesus. I recognize who he is. Let's go a little further. When giving to God, we need to give, listen to this, with a scriptural attitude. Mary gave her gift to Jesus because she believed he was God. She believed he was God. Now, let me just talk. This is the same Mary, because, Mary and Martha, this is the sister. It was the one who Martha complained about, because you remember when Jesus and his boys would come to town, Martha was busy serving. You remember that? But the text says that Mary sat at his feet. Martha was so upset about it, she went and told Jesus. She went and told on Mary. Now, she need to help me, right? I'm up here doing all this work. I'm serving the Lord. I'm serving you, Lord. And she's over there just, she ain't doing nothing. In other words, we got all these dishes to wash. Jesus, you don't come in here alone. Look at all y'all. And I'm the only one in here serving. And Jesus said, don't bother her. She's chosen the better part. She's chosen something. Now, what are you talking about? There was something about Mary where she had a high view of who Jesus was. She valued his word so much that she would sit at his feet willing to learn from him. And so when she gave, she's bringing all of that to the table, recognizing who he is. And so she gave with the scriptural attitude. Notice when you say, why you say that? Because when you look in verse number 7, Jesus corrected everybody and said, leave her alone. She has kept this for the day of my burial. In other words, everybody else didn't even think about Jesus even having the capacity to die. But somehow God revealed to Mary that she needed to anoint Jesus. This oil is for him. This oil is set aside. She didn't use it for anybody else. This is for him. She poured it, not part of it, all of it. She broke open the thing and poured the flask of oil over him. Nobody else anointed Jesus for his burial. In fact, post-resurrect, when you look at when they thought Jesus was just in the tomb, they went to anoint his body. Of course, he wasn't there. So he wasn't even anointed again. This was the anointing for his burial. Somehow she had scriptural insight. And a better word would be prophetic insight as to who he was. So it was this attitude of, there's something about him. I can't give this oil to anybody else. This is for him. And so she accepted that and began to give it to Jesus. Isn't that awesome? Now, Here's another thing. I told you so far, when giving to God, we need a sacrificial attitude. We need a servant attitude. We need a submissive attitude. We need a scriptural attitude. But now, I couldn't think of a better way to say it than this. And so please forgive how plain this sounds. But we need a do it now attitude. Come on, say that. A do it now attitude. A serious do it now attitude. Now, Jesus said, verse 8, the poor you will have with you always, but me you do not have always. In other words, this had to be done now. She couldn't delay in giving this tremendous sacrificial offering to God. She had to give it now because it was set up for his time. His time to die had come. And understand something, I don't know how God does these things, but somehow he's able to stir you. Have you ever been stirred on the inside like an urgency to do, and you know what I'm talking about? And so Mary had this urgency to do it. Now keep in mind, there had been other dinners at their house, but it was something about this one where she knew that she knew, I got to go get the oil. I got to go get it. And can you picture her going scrambling through her room? And you don't keep this just in the common place. You probably keep it in a special place. And she went and got it. And then she said, I got to do it now. I got to do it now. I got to do it now. I wonder what God has put in our hand that we need to release now. I wonder, do we have that kind of sensitivity where I got to do it now? Jesus said, you go ahead, the poor with you always, but me, you're not going to have always. In other words, I'm on a schedule. I'm on a schedule, and she recognized, somehow she tapped into that, and she had this do it now attitude. I read this. It says some Christians are always waiting for a more convenient time to give to God. When they're young, they don't have enough money, so they wait. So they'll wait to give. And when they have families, they want to wait till the children are grown. And then when the children are gone, they want to wait till the education is paid off. And then when that's done, they're too busy looking for money, socking away money for a retirement. And their whole lives have passed by, and they missed the opportunity to give. Because I was waiting, I didn't have a do-it-now attitude. And so I believe the Lord is challenging us. There's an urgency. I want to say this. What would you do? How would your giving change if you knew? Now, if you knew this, let me just say this. I'm not prophesying this is getting ready to happen. But if you knew that 2018 was the year of the Lord's return, how would that change let me say it again. I did not say, don't go out here and say, Pastor Bill said that, the Lord's coming in 2018. I didn't say that. No man knows the day nor the hour. I'm one of those men. But I know he's coming. All right, so don't go lying on me now. Yeah, Pastor Bill said in service, the Lord's coming in December. No, I didn't. I didn't say that. He could. But so the question is, how would your attitude change in your service to God and your giving to God if you knew that he's coming? he was coming. What would you do in terms of your life and witness for him? And I'm not talking about just giving of money. What would you give in terms of your time, your treasure, your talent? How would you give? How would that change your giving? And my question then would be, if you knew that he was coming this year and you see that you need to make changes, since you don't know when he's coming, why not go ahead and make the changes anyway? Because he could come this year. You don't know, man. You don't know the day nor the hour either. That you've put off could be sooner than you think. And so what I'm getting at is this. There has to be this do it now attitude. There has to be this attitude, okay, God, I don't know what's going on, but I know what you've put in my hands. You've given me to manage. And part of what you've given me to manage, even in terms of my giving, is to reach other people for your glory. Is to reach people for you, is to minister, is to bring life to others. Come on, say I'm a life giver. Amen. And so that means everything that I have is life-giving. It's not death-giving, it's life-giving. Even my finances are life-giving. And so we need to have this do-it-now attitude, a more of an urgency. We've sat back so long thinking, well, it's been over 2,000 years, so surely he ain't coming back no time soon. You hear prophets, people call themselves prophesying. Some people said he's coming this particular day, this particular day, this particular day. Everybody's going to be wrong, all right? Because he said no man knows. You might know the season, but I tell you, because you're going to be able to sense the seasons and the times. And what I'm getting at is this regarding the seasons and the times. You don't have to have a high level of discernment to recognize we're in the last days. With all the stuff that's happening now, with all that's going on, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the last of the last days. And certainly, we're closer than we ever were. And so we need to have that in mind. I just want to elevate our thinking that if you get bogged down with the mundane life in terms of just thinking about you, yourself, and me, myself, and I, that kind of attitude, you miss the whole boat. God put you here to reach others for his glory, to bring glory to his name. And so we need to have this do it now attitude. And Mary really did not know what she was doing in the sense of the long-lasting impact that she would have. And I want to call it, you need to have a seed-minded attitude. Seed-minded attitude when giving to God. Why do you say that? In Matthew chapter number 26, verse 13, Jesus speaking about Mary's giving, he said, assuredly I say to you, wherever this gospel is preached in the whole world, what this woman has done will also be told as a memorial to her. Isn't that something? What she sold, this is another account of the same story. Matthew's account of it. When she sold, she didn't know all the impact that it was going to have. Jesus said, but whenever the gospel is preached, this seed, what she did, is going to be told throughout the whole world. I wonder when he looks at our seed, what is he saying about it? What is he saying about it? Now, those are the positive attitudes that we need to have. And I want to conclude with this. I want to conclude showing you what you shouldn't do. Two simple things. And they're both with Judas. Because Judas had a deceitful attitude. A deceitful attitude because he was trying to make people believe that he was something that he was not, Because he was talking about this money should be taken and given to the poor. He wasn't concerned about the poor. The text even tells us that. Look at somebody and say, don't be deceitful. He wasn't concerned about the poor. He was not at all concerned about the poor. And here's the second thing. You can't be deceitful in terms of attitude, and don't have a dishonest attitude. He was dishonest. Why you say this? He was dishonest? He was a thief. That's why I say he was dishonest. He was stealing what was in the coffers. He was stealing, he was looking at, I could take that money because it was almost a year's wages, and you can imagine he was in charge of the money box, is what the scripture says. So, if I can, you're talking about put a whole year's worth of wages in this money box that I'm carrying around, nobody will ever know what I'm reaching in there and getting. So he's seeing himself, maybe I can get me some new sandals. Maybe I can get me an Armani robe. or whatever, rather than walking around, I can go ahead and get me a donkey, which is a Bentley. You seeing what I'm talking about? And so he was dishonest and deceitful. Look at somebody, tell him, don't be dishonest and don't be deceitful. So we need to have the right kind of attitude when coming to God. And have you ever had this happen? Have you ever had this happen? Somebody was so excited to give that they couldn't hold it. I know some people, they were so excited about their gift. In even Christmas time, they're so excited. Oh, so-and-so's going to love this. They're going to, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, they're more excited about, and some of you that same way right now. You see them and you go, this is what they're going to love this. Isn't it a joy to give? It's a joy to give. And you're so excited about it, you go, and you're like, open it. Come on, open it. Oh, come on. And they're sitting there going, what are you talking about? And your enthusiasm and your excitement causes them to say, okay, what is it? And you hope that they're as excited about it as you are. I've seen it done time and time again, where I've had it done to me, where people have been so excited to give, and they're like, open it. You're gonna love you're gonna love this. It's not Pastor, but Billy or Honey. You're gonna love this. I don't know what's going on, but some laughter's happening in the room. Today, I have on a watch that was given to me when by somebody when I was with them on vacation. And so I had this. I think this is the first watch. I had watches, but I wasn't spending money on watches. You know what I'm saying? It was just, if it told time, you know what I'm saying? And so I started looking at this watch, and the next thing I know is the watch was in my possession, given to me by somebody that I was on vacation with. I wonder who that was, right? And this person was so excited. Like, are you going to wear it? Like almost like put it on now, of course, with income, not that this is just the most expensive watch in the world, but it's far more expensive than what I was wearing. Okay, let's just say you might want to rub your hand with alcohol after you pulled off what I used to wear. All right. In fact, I took my old watch to the jewelry store, and they were talking about cleaning it, because I had to clean stuff. They said, "No, sir, we can't. No, no, we don't want to put anything on that. We don't want to do anything with that. No, no, no." But the person was so excited about giving me this watch. And they said, "You like it?" Of course I like it. This watch broke recently, or I guess sometime last year, and I said, "Well, do you think I ought to have it repaired?" And this person looked at me with almost this, "How dare you? This is a watch I gave you. And you got to get that one repaired." I said, "Well, I can get another one, but it's not this one." You understand? That's what that person told me regarding this watch. And so what I'm getting at is this. That was part of this whole attitude in giving. Not only do I want you to have it, I want you to keep it. I want you to maintain it. I want you to take care of it. I want you to really esteem it. I wonder what would happen as we give to God. Our attitude is, I need to give to God. I want to maintain that gift, what he's given to me. I'm a steward of it. I need to maintain it. I need to take care of it. And then when he asks for some of it, I need to give it back to him. And my attitude needs to be such that I'm going to take care of what you gave to me. I'm going to honor you in what you gave to me. I'm going to have this attitude of worship as I give back to you. Isn't that something? And so, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to encourage you. Make sure that you have the right attitude when giving to God. Amen? Let's thank him for his word today.
Come and experience transforming worship at New Covenant Christian Ministries. We have 2 locations. Our West Campus is located at 1760 Phillips Road, Lithonia, Georgia. Our East Campus is located at 14147 Highway 278, Covington, Georgia. For more information, please visit our website at www.newcov.org.